come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. You're all out of bubblegum.
I couldn't think of a more horrible job if I wanted to. And you have to do it.
I never realized how much my advice hurt people until my advice hurt me.
I love lamb.
Sportos, motorheads, geeks, sluts, bloods, wastoids, dweebies, dickheads. They all adore him. They think he's a righteous dude.
Playing a dude disguised as another dude.
It's good to be the king.
You're like a Kentucky Fried Idiot.
All right, let's get started. Hit the like and subscribe. Today's show is dedicated to all the trolls and maggots out there. And on top of that, the locals from side accounts who feel unseen in their angst and nihilism. Today goes out to you.
Leon's getting larger.
Did it say?
Knife. Not thrilling, the knife.
Well, let's just jump right in. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm Hal Sparks. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Seth, the Laken Riley's killer came in under the policy, the deferred enforcement directive given by Donald Trump on his last day in office in the first 18 months of that, and he was a minor at the time. So policies, a slight policy difference on how you handle that kind of shite in those situations, just to let you know. And where in the world? PCs, you are very weird with your overscan and your underscan. I get Windows trapped sometimes. Because I know, Murph. Are you trapped in the closet again? You are? You guys hear that? You have to. Hold on one second. Yes? Where are you? Are you trapped in a closet? Oh, there you are. You can't do that, man. You match the carpet. I can't see you. So, had a little bit of a issue this morning because I have a little closet in my office right over there, and Murphy, bless his wee little heart. And also, why is my name not up on there? I don't want people to get confused about who I am. Boink! There you go. I'm Hal Sparks, your host of Hal Sparks Megaworldwide, the greatest live stream in the history of all live streams. And I will continue to Hal Sparks as long as the world needs a Hal Sparks, which seems to be where I'm never going to run out of work. Let me tell you, especially this human AI liaison part of my first name. That right there. Now, granted, my name, Hal, is short for High Order Assembly Language. The root learning language that was created in Arthur C. Clarke's 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I am a HAL 9000 computer.
That's right. So just get used to that idea. But in the importance of dealing with the realities of the world versus the virtual parts of the world. So Murphy we have a cat that can open doors. He climbs up and their handle open doors, so he can do that, and then they come open, and then he goes inside, and I come over and I go, why is this door open? And I close it, and so my closet was open, so I closed it, and then I kept hearing Murphy meowing, and I'm looking out in the like the room where the litter box is, and I'm out in the rest of the basement area. I'm like, where the fuck is this cat? Then I come back inside, it's still gone. All right. Then I finally realized, wait a sec, the doorknob on the closet starts wiggling, and I'm like, oh, he's trapped inside. And I open up, and he's like, you won't believe what I've been through. Dear God, the torture, the torment. So yeah. Now, welcome. By the way, hello, chat room. Glad you guys could join us. It's lovely to see you here. Thank you for being here, and thank you for joining me. Let's start right out of the gate where, you know how we used to do all the time, and I think you guys will remember this. If Obama blah 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 blah, if Hillary Clinton had blah 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 blah, right? We did that during Trump's first term all the time. Like, it got to be on a meme level. Like, I literally got tired of doing it, because if Obama did anything even remotely like this, blah 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 blah, right? It was like a tick verbally on our side of the field, right? And that apparently the entire goal of the second Trump term will be to turn that from just a meme or a joke into the absolute absurd. Let me give you an example. Elon Musk. Okay, first of all, let's step back. What do we know about Alex Jones, besides the fact that he has an undiagnosed shellfish allergy and sleeps on a bunch of lobster tail husks in his mattress or something? Like, his ex-wife just filled his pillowcase with shrimp husks and didn't tell him. And the fact that he's a deluded bigot. Besides that, okay. What we also know about him is that he is hyper suspicious of big government and everything from DARPA to FEMA. Anything involved in the government, they're coming for you. They're going to chip you. They're going to track you. No one shall buy or sell anything without the mark of the FEMA, and all these things, like automatic suspicion. Look who he's hanging out with. They met with this person. It's like, look at them taking a picture with this person. Aha! I have uncovered the entirety of the deep state, Illuminati, whatever. Okay. Then we just kind of, and it's a bunch of pedophiles and murderers, and yet pictures, literally dozens of pictures of Donald Trump hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and they're like, I don't know, you're rich, you meet people. Like, it's right. It's just insane. It's like such a and then he picks for his possible future AG, and we will deal with that as we come. Matt Gaetz, who is literally under a House ethics investigation for child sex trafficking. It just pegs the meter of irony. It blows the irony off the scale. But probably the biggest one of all in this whole, there's this big conspiracy and there's somebody, the they, them, right? The they, them are running everything behind the scenes, and we live in a fake democracy, and they pull the strings and pick our leaders, except magically when Trump's elected twice, then suddenly, dear God, the deep state was caught with its pants down, and instead of, oh, he must be part of the plan too, or I've been full of shit this whole time. That never occurred to them, or maybe it does, and they just blow past it. But let me say this. One of the biggest areas with Elon Musk hanging out with Trump is the brain chipping stuff and the owning a social media platform that he bought outright. So I don't want to hear any big tech from these motherfuckers at all. And then he wants to chip 2 billion people. This is his goal for Neuralink, 2 billion people. He thinks 2 billion people are going to want his brain chip, and they're going to pilot it in the United States and Europe, I guess. Like, okay. Which, imagine if you will, and I know it's just like, it's like an oldie but a goodie. It's like, I feel like I'm playing the hits from 2013. Obama hanging out with a guy who on multiple podcasts was not only talking about putting chips in people's brains, but had a company working on it all the time. It's right. I mean, it's just, yes, 2 billion, Dana. That's the quote, 2 billion. He believes 2 billion out of the 8 billion people on the planet will want the brain chip and get it. And that they will be the superior people on the planet because they will be linked up to the internet at all given times or whatever, you know, until you're talking to one of them and the signal goes down and they're just kind of like, can you do me one thing? If you're going to put a Neuralink in somebody's head, could you at least put the spinning beach ball of death in their eye so I know what the fuck is happening? Instead of thinking they're lost in thought, I just know they've lost connectivity. Right. Loading, right? And then when they come back, I want to hear the Netflix noise. So I'm like, oh, he's back. Okay, right. What were you saying? Okay, so that's fucked up enough because that is in its own way, I suppose, elective, right? Even though I don't know, so is FEMA help, and I guess Alex Jones desperately wants, desperately thinks everybody's going to be rounded up and put in a FEMA camp in a fucking plastic tub or whatever. Okay, let me show you something. This is from Fortune magazine, if I may, ladies and gentlemen. This is it. Listen to this. First of all, how about no? You crazy South African bastard. No. Elon Musk asked people to upload their medical data to X so his AI company could learn to interpret MRIs and CT scans. No. And first of all, why the fuck would you upload it to a social media website? What? You would think at least like, we have XAI has a separate server and it's anonymous and blah, blah, blah. No, they just want you to fucking post it in your feed or some shit. What? And I don't doubt a bunch of them did. Because, again, I would love to get Grok to comb through all the maggot brain scans and go, wow, I had no idea there was such an epidemic of lead poisoning in the Republican electorate. Really? You didn't? Okay. In Elon Musk's world, AI is the new MD. The ex-CEO is encouraging users to upload their medical test results, such as CT and bone scans, to the platform. Fuck you. What? So that Grok's X's artificial intelligence chatbot could learn how to interpret them efficiently. Try submitting X-ray, PET, MRI, or other medical images to Grok for analysis. He wrote, this is still early stage, but it's already quite accurate and will become extremely good. Let us know where Grok gets it right or needs work. Turns out Grok needs work. AI successfully analyzed blood test results and identified breast cancer according to some users, but it also grossly misinterpreted other piece of information according to physicians who responded to Musk's post. In one instance, Grok mistook a textbook case of tuberculosis for a herniated disc or spinal stenosis, and in another, the bot mistook a mammogram of a benign breast cyst for an image of testicles. That which I guess bears the question, Grok, what is a woman? Apparently, right-wing AIs don't know what a woman is. Can't tell the difference between tits and balls. What in the world? And secondly, I don't give a fuck if it's wrong or right some of the time. No. Also, can I just say that the people who are uploading their shit are the same dumb motherfuckers who are clamoring on about HIPAA and you don't have the right to know if I'm vaccinated and no vaccine passports, and meanwhile they're uploading their fucking medical records to us, not even to his fucking company, not even to XAI or something like that, just on Twitter. Just post your fucking medical records on Twitter. Get the what? And the thing can't tell the difference between tits and bits. Right, exactly. Now, if you think for 1 second, sorry, I'm not up on Instagram. Okay, I'll go up on Instagram right now. We'll be up in just 1 second. Here we are. Welcome everybody on Instagram. Sorry you missed out that first little bit. You're going to want to go to infotainmentwars.com and check it out. I didn't put it behind a paywall or something like that. I just forgot to hit go. I need an AI that will do that, and I don't have one yet, but I'm working on it. Rob and I are working on it. God damn it. So, just in case you think that people uploading their medical records to Grok to read on X isn't stupid enough, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to J.D. Vance, the VP-elect for the Republican Party. The guy who is weird doesn't even cut it. Again, this is to the point where weird has become lame. J.D. Vance posted this post on Shitter. I don't even want to use the words anymore. And because he was questioned by somebody and and not just by like, it's not our side of the aisle that's questioning. It's Republicans are pissed off because J.D. Vance, who is a sitting U.S. senator, is not showing up for votes, and they feel like they could, he might be able to stop or slow down some of the appointments that Biden is doing on his way out. But a bunch of these guys have not shown up to do this because they're busy working with the Trump transition, or in his case, getting ready to be VP or whatever. But that shouldn't stop him from coming over and making his votes. I mean, he's there in D.C. It's just silly, right? But so he got called out on it by Grace Chong, and his response was, Grace Chong is a mouth-breathing imbecile who attacks those of us in the fight rather than making herself useful. She's right-winger, I suppose. If I had shown up to the vote in question, the nominee would have succeeded 49-46 rather than 49-45. If every Republican had showed up, Fetterman would have come in and the Democrats still would have gotten their nominee across. When the 11th Circuit vote happened, I was meeting with President Trump to interview multiple positions for our government, including for FBI director. I tend to think it's more important to get an FBI director who will dismantle the deep state than it is for Republicans to lose a vote 49-46 rather than 49-45, but that's just me. Okay, does anybody see the breaking news? Christopher Wray's term does not run out until 2027. You see why Dum Dum accidentally showed his hand playing fucking he's playing poker with the faces going that way. Like, all I got are blue cards. Like, yeah, this is a fuck Chris Wray post, and they had him he took it down. This is a screenshot. People screenshot it and kept it, but he tweeted and deleted it because he wasn't supposed to say that. Defund the FBI. Yeah, why? So every serial killer in the country can immediately feel free to double their victim count? Yeah. The FBI, like the primary work they do, besides like background checks and shit like that and coordinating between states and tracking down criminals that cross state lines, is that they go after like cross-state line killers and murderers and child predators and child pornography. The last two FBI agents that were killed in the line of duty were serving a warrant on a guy who was producing child pornography, and they were shot serving that warrant. They died in Florida. So fuck you, defund the FBI, people. Period. If you defund the FBI says to me, free the child predators. That's what you stand for. Feel free to @ me. Yeah, do you mean like Matt Gaetz? Well, that's exactly why they want him in charge of where it points its resources. And why probably he will not end up being the AG, because they're not going to let a resource appointment happen, and the Republicans in the Senate are seemingly teaming up against him. There are 13 votes for him, same number of votes Rick Scott had at this point, so we'll see if they can ever convince anybody else. But getting a majority vote through the committee will be pretty difficult. But we'll see, because, again, we're going to figure out if these motherfuckers actually give a shit about the country, right? Yeah. Yes, the FBI goes after missing children cases across state lines as well. And if you want them to stay missing, defund the FBI. Same thing with ATF. Like, these guys are like, they're just going after legal gun owners. No, they're not. You can own guns. You can have some guns that you own legally and still sell modified machine guns and sawed-off shotguns out of a fucking pickup truck at gun shows. You can do both, right? You know what I mean? It's like somebody... this might shock you, but most people who traffic drugs across the country drive reasonably within the speed limit. They are a licensed driver obeying the law. Okay? All right. Anyways, so this idiot, and now you know. I just thought I'd share that with you guys. And back to the chat, if I may. And let's jump in kind of where we, I think one of the weirdest things about the whole... Let's just jump into this, because I can't... honestly... It's mask off time over at Jimmy Doreland. This is the thumbnail that Jimmy Dore has up for Matt Gaetz. Deep State Destroyer. Yeah. Yeah, a dude literally bragging. Even if you don't buy the underage allegations, which I think, most of us believe where there's smoke, there's fire. And if we had more evidence, it will probably point in that direction. But even still, dude bragged about having sex with women who are under the influence of drugs. And this should come as no surprise to anybody that you cannot consent when you are under the influence of drugs or alcohol. You can't do it. Especially if you're underage, but definitely it still applies to adults. Yeah. But he's now Jimmy Dore's hero. I don't know how much we will be able to stomach of this shit, because he has Scott Ritter, who's a twice convicted child predator, on with him. Shall we see?
Everybody come see us on tour. We'll be in Columbus, Dayton, Cleveland, Cincinnati, Lexington, Kentucky.
Matt Gaetz matters, and you wrote on your Substack, which is called Scott Ritter Extra. Everybody should check that out, obviously. President-elect...
What? Hold on. Why would that be obvious? Why would... and I don't know, are both these guys, I guess, filling in for Jimmy, and Jimmy just, insists that Scott Ritter be on? It's not good enough that he has these two sycophant, nut-sucking assholes filling in for him. He's got to have Scott Ritter, a twice convicted child predator. The first one was expunged after he, the record of it expunged, but he was still convicted after he served his time for it, which I think he got probation or something like that.
Donald Trump has nominated Matt Gaetz to be the next Attorney General of the United States. Many Americans are appalled and offended by this choice. I find it one of the best nominations made by Trump. Let me tell you why, and please take note, it is personal. Don't worry, Scott.
Right. You're both child predators, I guess, and he's part of the club.
But I'm not going to make you sit through the whole article, but I did assemble some highlights. Oh, look, a special guest, special friend of the show, Jimmy Dore is here. Hey, how is it?
He had to show up. You can only have, what is it? You can't have a 1/3 child predator thing. You have to have it 1/4 and keep it. I don't know what the rest of these guys' proclivities are. We just assume they're on the team.
Oh, Jimmy, Malcolm didn't give me a bio for you. I didn't know how to introduce you.
No, that's okay. I'm here to make sure there isn't any profanity. Yeah. And please go on with this article. It's fantastic.
Okay, sure thing. The FBI is currently investigating me regarding efforts to counter the U.S. government's efforts to promote Russophobia, accusing me of violating the Foreign Agent Registration Act simply because I traveled to Russia and returned home to report the truth of what I had witnessed.
Yeah, no. This asshole spoke to Chechen troops He gave a speech to Chechen troops that would be fighting in Ukraine. He didn't just go over there to report. He didn't take pictures and come back. The fuck out of here.
Witnessed to the American people. The FBI coordinated with the State Department to seize my passport without cause.
Again, multiple a child predator, twice convicted, and then somebody who gave a speech to foreign adversarial troops, and like a go get 'em speech,
simply to prevent me from continuing to travel to Russia. The FBI executed a search warrant on my home on August 7th, 2024, based upon false statements submitted to a federal judge to sustain the premise of probable cause. There's a photo of that very event.
Yeah, and hey, Scott, why don't you show us what's in the boxes, man? Why don't you just why in the world would they feel like they had the ability to do that? Why would they think that that'd be okay? What was here's a good idea. Show the warrant. You've got a copy of it, right?
In place. I have been labeled an information terrorist, quote unquote, by the Ukrainian government through programs that are funded in full by U.S. taxpayers and facilitated by both the State Department and the FBI.
Right, because they're allies of us and we both care about democracy and you don't.
The culprits in question within the FBI.
All right, fuck this. I don't like. Why would I sit by as this asshole reads Scott Ritter's Substack as programming? Fuck off. Point being is that Scott Ritter is a twice convicted pedophile who gave a rah-rah anti-American speech to Chechen troops that were going to fight and kill in Ukraine, and then he wants to. And Jimmy Dore is there to cradle his balls during the entire process. Now, from the absurd to the ridiculous, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like I owe it to you to give you because he gives us such short doses. It's like a Whitman sampler of morondom. It's the Dinesh D'Souza again in another shirt his wife picked. What is that? What are you doing? Is golf wear the uniform now? Is that like the Hawaiian shirts to the Proud Boys? If you're a maggot, you have to wear golf shirts now of like the worst kind. Where the fuck did you get that? Chess King? Ouch. All right. So Trump has a huge, it's spelled with a Y, Dinesh, not an H. Huge plan to deport illegal immigrants, always with the breaking news.
The lawbreakers are all here. Now what do you do with them? And Trump's answer is simple. You declare a national emergency and you have a systematic campaign with the assistance.
Hold on, asshole. You can't declare a national emergency because of a volume of lawbreakers. They've been here the whole time. Real quick, let's just start with, before he gets to whatever the fuck his stupid ass point is. Should we jump into, let me go back into this, sorry. This is, if I may, according to, this is the number of unauthorized immigrants by state, last updated June 4th, 2024. And this is an older picture. This is from 2021. This is the overall total, 10.5 million. That was in 2021. After 25 million people crossed the border and 2 billion zillion gotaways and blah, blah, blah. What's the current number? According to the Immigration Policy Institute, current number 11,047,000. Yeah. Vast majority of them, about 1 million of them, going to California during that time because California counts theirs. And so if there's a bunch of people in the country more than the number that's official, it's because Texas and other states refuse to count the people that are there on purpose to make it look like it's somebody else's problem. Now, we'll look in a minute at the volume of states and where they are and how many in just 1 second. But I would like to know that this is the current number as it's been updated. 11,047,000. That's a generalized number. 100% of them. 24% of them are in California. And they're not in Los Angeles and San Francisco and San Diego. They're in the farmland. They're in the eastern part of the state largely, okay? They're in the smaller towns and areas. They're in Stockton. They're in Bakersfield. They're, you know, those kind of things. They're around Barstow and Hesperia and that kind of stuff, okay? They're not, there certainly are, I'm sure, a large number of them in Los Angeles. I'm sure there's a large number in San Diego because there's a large number of people in all those places. But the increasing number is not ending up in the greater Los Angeles area or San Francisco because the population of those places has not gone up inexorably. As a matter of fact, it's gone down slightly. So that's how we know. And it's not because the cities aren't counting them, because they're all about counting them. They don't care. Texas, on the other hand, adversarial to the idea of counting them, okay? 1.7 million. They have a full 15% of the undocumented people in the country are in Texas. So Trump could busy himself with all of those folks, like almost immediately. Just go after Texas. They're the most welcoming. Run everybody out of there and seal the border. Shut down all of Texas's economy, like on day one. Knock yourself the fuck out. Do these numbers reflect Eastern European, Irish, and European? Well, yes, they do. They reflect everybody. And I'll show you where they are, and you can kind of tell by where they gather, okay? All right. New York, 835,000, 7.6%. That's the next highest, followed by Florida, which is almost even. Again, the red states, Texas and Florida, tend to undercount. The blue states tend to count people twice, in all honesty. Jersey is right next to New York, so it's kind of, piggybacked on there. There's Illinois with 425,000, it's 3.8% of the overall population. Georgia nipping at its heels and a similar overall population. North Carolina, blah, blah, blah. And then you've got areas where, like Oregon has 1%. They got 100,000. Indiana has 100,000. Now, interestingly enough, New Mexico, which is a border state. Remember, every state's a border state, right? Where's New Mexico? Here it is. 63,000. I don't know what you're doing wrong, New Mexico, but apparently the Mexicans are not sticking around, or whoever's coming through there. They're bugging out as fast as they can. And it might just be because there are very little cities in there and there's a lot of empty space between them, and maybe you can't count heads properly. But at the very least, you have New Mexico has half the number of people that Indiana has, according to this, okay? Which, again, is under 1% of the overall people in the entire state, right? Here's Mississippi with 25,000. Delaware has 24,000, which is a big deal for, like, Rhode Island having 24,000 is a large number of people for a small state, but still not measurable. 21,000 in D.C., New Hampshire at 11,000. The smallest one being Vermont with about 3,000. And Vermont's a small state, but it's not in the, Maine is bigger and it only has 5,000. Part of it's travel and again, a lot of these numbers, these right here, those are Canadians and other folks. Those are visa overstays and Chinese students and shit like that. And you can tell by kind of like which border they're the closest to. Okay. Anyways, so let's take a look real quick at this map that's up here. And again, this is the 2021 version, but the proportion is nearly identical. Just add 1 million on top of this, and about, because it's 1.9 here, it was 2.7. So about 800,000 of them approximately are going to California, and the rest are kind of distributed softly everywhere. Okay. And Texas's numbers at 1.6, and they're saying it's, hold on. Texas isn't saying it's down by then. It's up by 100,000. So they're up by 100,000 since it's up. So since 20, we're probably going to say 25 million people across the fucking border. 2 million gotaways. They're all over the fucking place. And yet Texas is counting, by their own count, of undocumented immigrants in their own state is only up by 100,000 in a state that big. And, by the way, that brings us to a number that's almost identical to the number it was when Reagan was in office. The standard 11 million we're always talking about. Just letting you know before we start this whole and again, these kind of numbers should inform you how Republicans look at fucking everything. No wonder this asshole thinks tariffs are going to get rid of the national debt. Think of the math this idiot is doing. Aren't students on visas authorized? Yes, but if they overstay them, visa overstays are technically illegal immigrants. That's the point I'm trying to make. So when they stay a day over, they suddenly go from, being legally here to not legally here, even if it's weeks. And that happens too. That's like this rotating thing that's always part of the number. It's like the unemployment numbers always have a slight slice of people who are between jobs. They're looking, but they're making a decision. They're not technically like without options. They might have gotten a severance at the last place they were at, and their start benefits, or maybe they are because they got laid off, but they've got enough of a nest egg to be a little choosier the next time. Those kind of things. There's always that window. It's about half a percentage point or to a point, depending, of unemployment that is always that number. Like you can never get to zero unemployment because there's always that just life factor. It's probably closer to 3 or 4 no matter what. But it's hard to say depending on the adults and the number of people working and the age of the population and baby boomers versus millennials and Gen Xers who are working. That's always the factor. So by percentage, who's old enough to work but has stopped working because they're retired, and still looking though. There's like those kind of factors in there, which is why you'll never get to zero, because you're not supposed to. It'd be weird. The only way you can get to zero is, I guess, forced labor camps. What's Rob Glenn saying? Because I'm sure it's smart, whatever it is. I have to scroll back to find it. Okay, somebody will put it in the staff chat, I hope, or something. My mic's going in and out? That's weird. It doesn't seem to be on my end. I can see it when I talk. My mic is fine. Depends on the site, I suppose. All right. So, if I may, maybe reload. It's good on Twitch. It might be a YouTube thing. You might want to reload your page. Could be. Yeah. So, anyways, Florida, about 900K in this one. Right now, they are at, what's the current thinking there? They're down. According to this, they got 772,000. This is the Migrant Policy Institute's numbers. And this is the interesting thing. This is a population profile of undocumented immigrants. And you can kind of click on each one, and they'll give you the kind of currently updated number. And again, New Mexico, 63,000. Missouri has 50,000, Illinois 425,000. That's where you've also got like Eastern Europeans and all kinds of people like that in Chicago and the outlying area. There's a bunch of that stuff. Wisconsin has 70,000, Minnesota 81,000. And again, they call it unauthorized population in this one. But the estimate is 11 million. That's the realistic, actual estimate of people living unauthorized in the United States. And I think unauthorized is a great way to go. Yeah, if you're not authorized to live here, you authorize each of you musicians, then that would be a good way to talk about it. These are unauthorized immigrants. How about that? Does that make everybody feel better without the no human is illegal, even though you can commit a crime and you can call some, it's like, it's like saying no human is murder. When you call them a murderer, it's like if they committed murder, they're a murderer. It's a distinction without a difference. The point is in this situation, you can be illegally an immigrant to some place and still be a good person. You're still just doing that wrong. I think that ship has sailed, and it was an odd fight to begin with. But that said, this is we're looking at about 11 million. So I want you to know that going into this, one of the things they're gonna release a number similar to this one. And go, we've got the number down from 25 million to 11 in one day. How? Well, we went from using our fantastical bullshit campaign numbers to the real numbers. It's amazing. 15 million people just fucking vanished.
Existence of the military. The use of the word military and Trump's willingness to mention.
Just throw the Constitution in a wood chipper?
This term, "terrified way," I think revealed.
Unterrified? We're not asking him to be terrified of using the term military. He should honor the Constitution. And also, you're not going to do it. He's not going to bring in the fucking army. What he means is the National Guard, which he's going to commandeer from the states. And some will do it willingly and some won't do it at all because they have the right to do that. And if they want to take away that right, fine. But I don't want to hear you fucking squawking the next time a Democrat's in office.
How firm he is about this. Now, the left is obviously moving into full gear. I see a lot of comments by these various immigration attorneys. We're ready with our lawsuits. And so there's going to be a big battle over this. They're going to file suits. The suits are going to be quickly appealed. Appellate courts are going to have to rule on this. It's going to be appealed to the Supreme.
I'm sorry. No, he said day one. I don't want to hear any bullshit. He knows exactly what he's going to do, and he's got a mandate, and the Congress is behind him 100%, and every senator in every red state wants him to roll in there with fucking trucks and army people and round up anybody this side of taupe as far as skin color. So Dinesh, I would stay indoors if I were you during that first 3 months of the presidency because they're not going to care. They're just going to start rounding people up. And if you squeal at all, I don't want to hear it.
Supreme Court. But I think the good news for Trump is that the law has been in place. The law is unchanged, and the law is on Trump's side. So all...
No, it isn't. No, it isn't. You can't use the military unless there's an invasion, and you can't change the word invasion to mean fucking roofers.
All these other people are simply essentially demanding that courts delay the enforcement of existing law. And again, think about what other area of American lawbreaking would this be tolerated under? The only thing I can think of...
Well, in other areas, first of all, we don't have necessarily an asylum situation. And secondly, everywhere Trump shows up in court, apparently.
That is even roughly analogous is death penalty appeals. In other words, the guy did it. He has been fairly sentenced. His death penalty, he's supposed to be executed on a Wednesday, but you have all these appeals. Well, what if you made a mistake, and what we need to postpone it? So in that extreme case, we find that delays are normal.
Yeah, I mean, I would understand why pro-life people would be against that. Why can't we just have quick trials where we kill the person, and if we find out later they were innocent, that's just, you can't make an omelet without breaking some eggs.
Enforcement is often held back because of the at least hypothetical possibility, and you don't want to be wrong in this area. But this kind of reasoning does not apply to the immigration area. But
sure it does. If you scoop up people with legitimate asylum claims and you send them back to their country and they are surreptitiously murdered or sex trafficked or forced into gang servitude, yeah, that's exactly what this is, dipshit.
Because fine, no one is talking about accidentally deporting U.S. citizens. That's really not going to happen.
It happened last time.
What might happen is, and this would actually be a very interesting tough choice, but it's not a tough choice for the law. It's not.
You're going to kick out citizens who, the children of citizens who are married to someone undocumented, so they can, like, if you want to stay with your kids, you got to leave the country with them.
A tough choice for the government. It's a tough choice for the family, because people say, well, somebody asked Tom Homan, who has been put in charge of this whole operation.
Yeah, this is what he's talking about, by the way.
Asked Tom Homan, well, how do you avoid the problem of separating families in the deportation process? And Tom Homan was like, well, families can be deported together. So by and large...
No, they can't. You cannot deport a U.S. citizen. That person would have to willingly leave the country. They would have to flee their own country to be with their children because their partner is undocumented. If that would be the choice. You cannot deport a U.S. citizen, okay? Full stop. That's not deportation. That's expelling someone and I guess ending their citizenship without any promise of citizenship where they're going.
large, if you have, let's say, for example, someone here who is an American citizen, but their parents or their child is not, obviously, in reality, only the lawbreaker should be deported.
Obviously. But if a minor child is an American citizen because they were born here, I guess what we're ultimately going to have to do is we're going to have to get rid of anchor babies. We're going to have to get rid of... sorry, somebody was asking me who made the map. The map I was showing you was from the migration policy .org. Here, I'll copy this real quick, and I'll paste it into the chat, so you guys can have it there if you want to look at that. And then the other one was from brilliantmaps.com. They just made this. I'm not quite sure. Based on 2021 estimates, figures, rounded, source, Pew Research Center, tabulation of data from the U.S. Census Bureau. That's what this one was. And that's on Brilliant Maps on here. I'll copy that one and give you that one as well, guys. Boink. And we'll post that in the description below. Yeah. Okay.
But if the parent says, I can't obviously deport my kid, I've got to go too, well, you can go too. That's actually your choice.
Right. Or be separated from your blood relative that is your child. I mean, hey, you guys, look, you're the pro-family party.
And similarly, vice versa. If you've got a parent who is a U.S. citizen somehow, but the child is not, no.
Yeah, that doesn't happen.
One's talking about forcing the child to be deported by themselves. The parent is welcome to go with them. The lawbreaker.
That, by the way, that's how his video ends. It just stops right there.
No one's talking about forcing the child to be deported by themselves. The parent is welcome to go with them.
They're welcome to, but what if they can't? What if they're in the hospital? What if they require medical treatment, where they're going through a cancer treatment? Let me just run you through that shit. And then, do you think Homan's going to go, okay, we'll wait until you're done with your cancer treatment before we kick your fucking kid out of the country? Good Lord. And there is, there's always a silver lining in all this stuff, and I try to address it as much as I can. And I think one of the biggest ones is that Fox News is staring down the barrel of having to just suck Trump off every day for the next 4 years. That is one of the upshots. Unlike MSNBC or even CNN, the alleged, Democrat or left-wing leaning press, they have no problem all the time, making little razor cuts, right? In the Democratic leadership all the time, even while supporting them, just making little slices. Just, don't worry about the blood loss. Just keep cutting, and keep cutting. And then blame the last cut that kills them, whoever did that, for why they perish, as far from a political standpoint. Whereas there is no option even to do that little bit of cutting on Fox side, especially now. Okay, so I'll show you what I mean. Here's a guy. He might not be a guy. He might just be a thumb with one of those little cute wigs on it that they do, and he's staring down the barrel of being the Trump fluffer for 4 years. And it would be a lot easier probably for him if he was younger and dumber, like Jesse Waters. Right? It would be a lot easier for him if he was less aware of financial realities because he wasn't a rich fucker living in New York. Right? Thoughts on Joe and Mika's pilgrimage to Mar-a-Lago? Look, they're the ones that gave us him in the first place by taking his fucking phone call all during 2016. So the idea of taking them seriously has never crossed my mind. It's not surprising at all. But if there's anybody at MSNBC that's going to go over there and try to salvage, attacks from the FCC, it's going to be them. Nobody else is going to go. So they drew the short straw, probably. But either way, I give a shit. I don't go to them for leadership, and they're not indicative of the rest of the Democratic Party, certainly. So, shrug. All right. Anyways, Sean Hannity, the irony of this title: the abuse of power in government will end. Why? Are you expecting Trump to keel over? What abuse of power? We'll find out.
Land of the free, home of the brave, well, has now become, in liberal land, the land of the woke snowflake. Look.
Sorry, the woke snowflake? Look, I understand. You're new. You haven't been doing this for a long time. You fell into a barrel of tits and came up sucking your thumb, and you know, somebody threw you a paycheck, and you're like, hey, I could pick this up. Talking on camera is very, you know, it's got to be easy. Other people do it, but it's tougher than it looks. It really is.
In liberal land, the land of the woke snowflake. Look.
The woke snowflake. Really? You're gonna whiff the name calling? Sorry, snowflakes. What's a snowflake, dum-dum?
Don't you just hate to see liberals turning on each other like this? So sad to see. Trump derangement syndrome is...
Oh, sorry. And the Republicans are getting along? Sorry, are you going to have on Thune next as your guest?
Taking its toll. Speaking of which, tonight we have more big news from the president-elect and bad news for the radical left. Donald Trump is assembling his new administration. He is doing it in record time, according...
Right, because he's not bothering to vet anyone. That you don't get to set a record if you don't play by the normal rules of every other record that was set. Sorry.
To an ABC News report, he is making appointments, nominations in, quote, a quarter of the time it has taken some of his predecessors.
Right, because his predecessors would automatically kick people to the curb who were, I don't know, under investigation for child sex trafficking.
Coming up, two of those appointments will join us live, including the soon-to-be Deputy Chief of Policy, Stephen Miller, along with the incoming press.
Also, he doesn't have... Neither of these people have to be Senate confirmed. So what?
Secretary, I wouldn't wish this job on anybody. Caroline Leavitt, although I do have suggestions for her. After 4 long years of circle-back Jen Psaki and Karine Jean-Pierre, change is coming to the White House briefing room.
No, it isn't. Can we talk for a moment? Step over here, kids. Let me talk a little bit about modern sexism. Get ready. Okay. When's the last time we had a male spokesperson for the White House? How long's it been? Before Clinton? Sean Spicer. Right. Sean would be the one. Right. And how long did that last? Most of the time, and that was just so he would, because he was the only person, I guess, that would come out and fillet the numbers. Right? And yeah, Scaramucci lasted about a week. Was Snow, yeah. Yeah, it was before Sean Spicer, we had like one. Scaramucci, I mean, again, that became a joke. Okay, so yeah, Spicer, Stephanopoulos was during Clinton. None of them last. All the longest serving ones are women. Now, why is that? It very well may be because they're better at their job, clearly. But also, White Houses tend to use women as human shields against reporters being dicks. They usually bail out when the messaging gets rough, when they're doing something that's catching a lot of flack, or they're doing stuff. What they do is they swap out a man if they have one, or they bring in a woman. Period, because they feel like, and I don't know why they think this, they feel like the press will be less likely to talk shit to a woman than to a man, and that's the backup. Democrats do it quite often, but Republicans do it with, again, the only time they don't do it is when I don't think they can find a woman who will bullshit that much. Yes, human beings as shields. They use them as shields against policy. Anytime stuff starts to hit the fan or they're dealing with difficult issues, they will put a woman out in front and assume that the press will treat them with kid gloves, unlike how they shit talk men in this situation. Or they can wag a finger at them going, you're talking to a lady, right? And you can almost tell when they expect blowback, or they're dealing with a very contentious issue, or they're catching a lot of shit from one particular group, which I would argue that the Peter Doocy situation in, the entirety of the Biden administration, where they can at least have some element of stiff arming that nonsense. Trump is expecting it right out of the gate. And this is a quite regular thing, that anytime they're in a pickle, it's easier for them to choose a woman to be the spokesperson because they believe that people will be less likely to attack the messenger in that situation. That's not true this time around, and the only people that will be deferential to the incoming press secretary that he's talking about will be Democrats. Because Republicans will just, they'll be there. I mean, they might as well be, an extension of her office.
Wait, what a great...
Hold on.
Great idea that Ari Fleischer had. He said, put new media, put talk radio, Fox News, put, people in podcasting, put them in the front rows and take the legacy hate Trump media in the back.
Yeah, go for it. Send Kill Tony and a bunch of these fuckers to sit in the front row for all of these things, because I'm sure their automatic reflex to be distrustful, paranoid, and dicks they'll be able to put it aside and ask sensible questions going forward. They won't get paranoid at all. They won't get mad at all. And then what's going to happen is those people you're talking about, where you're like, have them in the front row, those people will start becoming cowed just like the quote-unquote legacy media, or they'll get the boot.
Influence is dead anyway. They had 90% negative coverage of Donald Trump, 90%.
Yeah, I think they missed a few stories myself.
Positive for Kamala. Trump still won in a landslide. No,
he didn't. He did not win in a landslide. Like, what is the smallest margin since Bush won the first one, or Bush 2's first win?
Cares what they say, and now change is coming to every facet of our federal government. Might as well do it there as well. And
if you'll recall, I played that WKRP clip about Reagan. This is the same fucking talking point. We're going to take a wrecking ball to the whole fucking thing. He ended up expanding government. What do you think Trump's going to do? You think he's going to squeeze red states who get most of this federal funding in the first place? You think he's going to help Democratic states by lowering the amount of money that they have to send in? Nope. Hey, I got news for you. Think about this for a second. If you're going to get rid of tax on tips, what cities do you think have the most waiters and hospitality people? Would those be big cities, big urban areas, or would it be the little towns with a single diner? Who do you think that benefits more financially? Big cities or little cities? Big states or little states?
Whether the legacy media, the radical left like it or not, it's happening. Moments ago, Donald Trump announced that American business mogul and small business administrator Linda McMahon will be appointed to lead the Department of Education, which might see...
Yes, the woman who helped begin WWE is going to run the Department of Education. And we'll have education will be a lot louder and fake.
...to exist by the end of Trump's term. Now, that's great. Why? Because state and local governments know better how to raise their children, and there should be national requirements that they must meet.
Well, how are you going to enforce those national requirements if you don't have a department checking on it, Sean? Who's going to do it? The IRS? The FBI? Who's going to come knocking on the door of Alabama when they just blow off education for entire swaths of children? Fuck, Ramaswamy last week was on a podcast going, the Department of Education was initially formed to make sure that states didn't discriminate, with black kids getting an education. And that's, no state is doing that right now, so we don't need it anymore. It's like, motherfucker, that's the reason no state does it is because they can't get away with it, because they got the Department of Education and the funding that goes with it looking over their shoulder. Without that, what do you think is going to happen again? You think the bigots running fucking Alabama state government or Mississippi or fucking even Georgia and are going to be like, yeah, black kids deserve and poor white trash deserve as much funding as the big city school with the legacy lead in into the university? Sure, why not?
Our friend Dr. Mehmet Oz, he has been nominated to be the administrator for Medicaid.
Your friend? What kind of friendship do you have there, Sean?
Moon River.
Care and Medicaid, which Donald Trump has promised to protect, where he will
from itself
work closely with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. That'll be a great 1-2 punch.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, the two of these guys. What could possibly go wrong? I'll tell you what's going to happen with this in particular. Probably a few dozen meetings, or he'll go around giving speeches or whatever, and he'll for the most part, let the departments run themselves the way they did before. Because you can't, if anything, what he'll be doing is going to the Republicans in the House and begging for more money. Enjoy it, asshole.
Dan Scavino is back. He has been picked to be Trump's deputy chief of staff. Good choice.
Deputy chief of staff. Yeah, it's a great choice. He's the tweeter in chief.
According to reports, Vice President-elect Vance has also confirmed that Trump is interviewing candidates to replace Chris Wray at the FBI. Now,
was it confirmed? Yeah, because he tweeted and deleted.
Wray had an opportunity after Comey. I spoke about it often, to restore the reputation, the former greatness, the integrity.
A little dry mouth there, Sean. Feels like this is bad. So Trump couldn't wait to get in to kick out the guy that he hired.
To the FBI, which continued to operate in a very hyper-partisan manner under his watch. So
No. Crime occurred in a partisan manner. It was heavily weighted on the Republican side.
Oh, Chris Wray's time.
But by the way, did they leave Menendez alone? No. Did they not go after Cuellar in Texas? No. What partisan part? What you mean is they didn't act in a partisan manner.
As FBI director is now running short. In fact, far-left politically motivated bureaucrats from all across the federal government, they should know that their reign of oppression on the American people is about to end. The witch hunts will end. The leaking.
Oh, yeah. It's totally. There won't be any more leaking, and nobody will go after Trump for anything that he does. And if they even try, you guys will cry like the little whingy bitches you are.
Will end. The abuse of power, the corruption will end.
Please. The dude wants a child sex trafficker alleged to be the AG. Shoo. Stop it.
So-called resistance within our government against we the people will be over. Donald.
What do you mean, we the people? Who the fuck is being rounded up in this country? Seriously. What did they come and take your rights like they took your fucking guns? What did Biden do? What did he fucking do to take away your rights at all? You ditzy motherfucker. What? Something.
Donald Trump has nominated a team of disruptors like he said he would. They are hell-bent on reforming every single department. Look at what Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy will do. Waste, fraud, abuse.
Yeah, it's a committee. COG. We get it. So let me get this right. A Republican president, you're telling me, I'm trying to follow you on this, is putting together a committee to cut the budget and he's focusing on programs he doesn't like, that to eliminate entirely, he will have to get passed through Congress, that is made up, even in the case of people who are allied with him, districts that require those funds to stay afloat. I've never heard this story before. This is fascinating.
Will be gutted. constitutional order. Remember, the principles of limited government, greater freedom, they will be restored.
What freedom are you lacking? I'm serious. How much more limited can the federal government be at this point? For real. For honestly, who the fuck are they going after? Whingy. In British parlance, someone was asking, what does whingy mean? Whining. Whinging is another form of whining. It's the more British form of the word.
You won't have the nanny state, cradle to grave, womb to the tomb promises of the left that would never be realized anyway. That always.
Whoa. That sounds like a threat against Social Security and Head Start and early childhood education, Sean. Which is exactly what it is. So carry it out. Fill your boots, man. Drive all the traffic of population back to the blue states. Do it. And with it, all the ingenuity and work and family focus that goes with it. Have everybody stampede back to New York and California and Washington State and the Northeast and Illinois. Go for it.
Always result in broken promises, more poverty, and a loss of freedom.
The child tax credit lowered child poverty in the country by a third. Republicans turned it off. They let it expire. They wouldn't vote for it. Voila. Explain to me how Republicans are going to fight poverty other than just letting some poor people die so that they don't have to be on the books anymore.
DOJ must no longer ever be weaponized. We can't live.
Apparently you're not. Oh, Jesus Christ. I apologize. This is old footage, but I should have known. Boom. Don't. There you go. I apologize. I didn't realize there were going to be pictures of Trump. He's almost a forgotten point at this. We've focused so much on the little group around him that will be running things, and Elon Musk, his puppet master, that we've almost forgotten that he exists. Barf, barf. All right. So, if I may, back to
in that country and institutions, great institutions like the FBI and our intelligence communities. They need to be restored to their former greatness under Donald Trump.
Back to the days when they were run by a cross-dressing sycophant of like other authoritarians. That's a great idea.
They will, and despite what you hear,
back to the days of MK Ultra. Yes, that's right. We need to take the FBI and the CIA back to their highest days of honor, the late 50s. Excellent.
From the hysterical legacy media, the incoming administration is confident Trump's cabinet will get confirmed. Not only will Republicans have a 53-seat majority in the Senate, but the president-elect is also ready and willing to use another tool at his disposal. It is not the ideal way to do it, but if...
and it's not, according to the Senate Majority Leader, it's not going to happen at all.
If he has to, he will, like other presidents have. It's called recess appointments.
Yeah, you do that when everybody goes out to play Foursquare.
And like everything else that Donald Trump does,
it will shit the bed. It will collapse. It will fall apart like Trump steaks, Trump University, Trump water, Trump vodka, Trump airlines, Trump football, Trump casinos, Trump's marriages.
Will send the left, the state-run legacy media mob, into a fit of hysteria.
Also, active criticism based on real merit reasons why you might not like something is not hysteria. Dipshit.
Here's some facts. Let's look at Reuters as the source, shall we? The U.S. Constitution says that a president can make recess appointments to fill vacant positions when the Senate is not in session.
Right. But they don't have to take a recess.
The Supreme Court ruled that a president can make those appointments once the Senate has been adjourned for at least 10 days.
Right. So if they're adjourned for 9 days and they send somebody back to call Senate into session, he can't do it. They know. Thune knows the rules.
The first ever recess appointment, well, that was made by the first president himself, George Washington.
Yeah, but people had to ride like on horseback to get to Washington from fucking the Carolinas, dum-dum.
During the very first congressional recess in 1790. More recently, Ronald Reagan made 240 recess appointments.
Yes, and that's when the Senate started going, hang on there, hotshot.
President George H.W. Bush made 77 recess appointments, including as Secretary of State. Bill Clinton made 139 recess appointments. George W. Bush, 171. Barack Obama, 32. So,
notice that number has gotten smaller.
This Thanksgiving,
Obama, 8 years, 32. Talk about playing by the fucking rules.
If you're sitting with your liberal relatives and they're not throwing turkey legs or mashed potatoes at you.
Why would we throw it? We're the ones that cooked it.
And they are freaking out. You can present them with these simple, basic, fundamental facts and truth.
Yes, that just because he's putting a child rapist on as AG, he can do it if the Senate goes away for 10 days. Eat that. I'm talking to you about the morals of it. I don't care about the morals. Can he do it? Yes. So we're just going to avoid should? You're kidding me, right?
Presidents from both parties have made hundreds of recess appointments.
Yeah, none of whom that I'm aware of were ever under an ethics investigation for child sex trafficking at the time, or where they had to make a recess appointment because of that reason. There were like huge policy decisions that or disagreements that they had was the main reason. They were just partisanship around somebody's appointment, not the fact that they might actually be a criminal of the worst kind.
It will not be unusual. It will not be unlawful for Donald.
Yeah, no, you're right. He can legally do it. We're not talking about can. We're talking about should, you cretin. I mean, he can also, if he wants to, he could put an urn with Jeffrey Epstein's ashes on his desk in the Oval. What are you going to tell me? You can't? You fucking snowflake? Huh? You're going to tell me the president can't do that? Well, legally, he can decorate the fucking place any way he wants. And if he wants to put an urn, if he wants to put a stone monument in the Rose Garden to Jeffrey Epstein, and on the day he pardons Ghislaine Maxwell, he can do it. Are you saying he can't? No, I'm saying he shouldn't, and that's fucking awful. Yeah, well, he can. Yeah, I know. So there. No, I'm saying it's morally reprehensible and disgusting. But he can do it, right? Yeah, yes. He could do morally reprehensible and disgusting things that are not directly illegal. So, boom. Mic drop.
Donald Trump to do the same. So tonight, we can all feel very good about Donald Trump's incoming cabinet.
No. No, we can't. Don't be a silly person.
They are about to clean house in the Washington swamp. There is.
Yes, they're going to take all of our all these classified documents that are in the way and just, where can we put these? How about Russia?
You know, little that anyone on the radical extreme left can do about it. And of course, that won't stop them from screaming, yelling, and crying and trying. But their manufactured hysteria. It didn't work during the election. It's not going to work now. It's sort of.
The extreme left isn't your fucking problem, dum-dum. They're not even part of the fucking conversation. As a matter of fact, Trump leveraged them to drive down the Democratic vote. These are the same uncommitted assholes you're talking about. That's the far left. And those fuckers protected Trump's own margin. What you got to worry about is Republicans that want to have a job after all this shit is over.
Like, it all comes together. It's just one big 9-year period of, you know, breathless Trump. And the American people rejected that overwhelmingly.
No, they didn't. They elected Barack Obama overwhelmingly. They elected Ronald Reagan overwhelmingly. They elected Bill Clinton overwhelmingly. They did not elect Donald Trump overwhelmingly either time. One of the smallest margins ever. As a matter of fact, on par with and slightly below Hillary Clinton's popular vote difference.
In the election. Woke cancel culture is now about to die.
Yes. Welcome to right-wing cancel culture.
Americans are over it. They no longer...
Yeah, we're over it. We're out of fucking Twitter. That shithole.
Listen to the media. They don't care what Hollywood celebrities have to say, which is great news.
I beg your pardon.
Oprah Winfrey, George Clooney could go back and focus on counting their money. Americans want the American...
Sorry. One of those people was behind brooming Biden, and the other one gave us Dr. Oz and Dr. Phil.
Dream restored for everybody else.
Pick other people.
With freedom and justice and prosperity and equal justice under the law.
Let's hear it, man. Okay. So if lawsuits come because people are being unfairly attacked under the Trump administration, you will be their first defender.
Application of our laws for everybody.
For everybody.
With a border that is secure, streets that are safe, lower grocery prices and lower gas prices. Hey.
By the way, we're going to have lower gas prices next year anyways because there's going to be a glut of oil. I've talked about this till I'm blue in the fucking face. We're going to be reaching probably a 1 million barrel a day surplus by like next fall because and that like even the oil and gas companies in the United States aren't going to increase production because they almost can't and still make any kind of a profit. And again, the only way you get them to change their practices, if it's going to cost them money, if it's going to lower the value of whatever they're selling, you can only do it one of two. You got to pick one of two ways. You can either entice them, right? You can give them incentives, or you can force them. That's it. Those are your two choices. Needless to say, blech. Yeah, gay and trans people will continue to exist. Yeah, nothing they can do about that. Here's somebody we haven't heard about in a long time, and I think this is another element of the trouble in Trump land issue. I'm not quite sure what to make of this, and I want to show you. Yeah, there's Rand Paul. Rand Paul explains where Trump should think twice on deportation operation. He's on Rob shit, and I think twice about it? Is he daring to question dear leader?
Trump confirming this week he'll declare a national emergency on immigration.
Yeah, but based on what legally? It actually has to be something. Like a pandemic, we actually had that, which is how he got Title 42. Unless he wants to release a pathogen into the United States, it's hard to argue what would be his legal footing.
Warranted, and use Pentagon money and our military for mass deportations.
Yeah, you can't do that because it's unconstitutional.
He gets into office. Now, those working closely with Trump on immigration.
Also, what was that noise? Is this it? Has he got a deviated septum and that's his version of the Sean Hannity sniff? Listen.
Terry for mass deportation once he gets into office. Now, those working close.
Are you snoring at your own desk? Is this? Are you sleeping and hosting?
Closely with Trump on immigration, also pledging to bring back Remain in Mexico, a very successful.
This is Tapoera, Mexico. Is that where this is coming from? These are people walking through the streets. I presume we're supposed to assume this is a caravan heading our way currently. They'll be here any minute now, probably 2 weeks.
Successful policy that Joe Biden and Kamala.
Yes, look at that vicious woman. And look at the lady in the shorts and she's wearing a Stitch t-shirt. Clearly a gang sign.
Harris ended as they worked to destroy the sovereignty of this country about 4 years ago. Trump has a much-needed ally in Senator Rand Paul, who's going to head the Senate Homeland Security Committee and has pledged to bring back Remain.
Wait, what's happening in the House? Sorry, do you have someone trapped in a small cage, Rob? Are you doing this from your kitchen again?
And Senator Rand Paul, who's going to head the Senate Homeland Security Committee and has pledged to bring back Remain in Mexico. And Senator Rand Paul joins us now. And, sir, it's good to have you back on.
I couldn't tell if he's got a gimp in a box behind him or that was on Rand Paul's side of things.
Remain in Mexico forces asylum seekers to wait for their cases to be heard in Mexico. You say the Homeland Security Committee's first hearing will be about reinstating that policy. Will this be more effective doing it this way than just an executive order?
But, you know, I think executive order is will be in order at the time Trump comes in. But the thing is that in addition to that, there are some policies that we need to address. For example, most people.
By the way, he's all senators are going to be like reticent to hand over that kind of power to the administration simply because what the fuck are you for then? What the fuck does the Senate do if he can do everything with executive order? What is the Senate, you know, what's your value? Because if he can get around you and he doesn't have to deal with you, then you have no leverage against him if you need something for your state. And Kentucky needs a lot of shit.
People see the images of people coming across the river and don't understand why they can't be placed right back on the other side. Why people come across the river and they're coming through concertina wire and our Border Patrol's cutting the wire to give them access to our country. So I think we need to.
No, they are cutting the wire when people are trapped in it. They're not letting them through. And also, if they are, where's that fucking hearing? Can I just call bullshit right out of the gate? Where's that fucking hearing? You heard it here first or second hand, I suppose. Rand Paul accuses Customs and Border Patrol of violating national sovereignty laws and letting people through. What do they get? I would assume you would want them to come before a hearing. You've got footage of this or something like that, or they've been reprimanded, I would suppose. So you could bring them before a committee and go, why did you cut that wire and let people just storm through? Where's that fucking hearing? Right? I'm pretty sure if you thought Mayorkas was ordering that behavior, you would ask him, right?
Address what are the legalities, what are the rules that can be changed, what can be done through executive order, and what requires legislation.
Right. You have a bill, pass it.
But I'm for all of the above. My understanding is that immigration law says that the president may admit migrants to this country under asylum. It doesn't say shall. So I think the president has the prerogative, whether there's a pandemic or not, the president has the prerogative to say we're full and we're simply not taking migrants for asylum at this time. I think the president has that much.
Yeah, but that's only in the area as far as the allocated resources that the administration has to play around with. If they don't have enough people to deal with it, with people that are sneaking across or crossing over places where there's gaps in any kind of border stuff, which would be private land or Indian land, which is another thing entirely, unless they're suggesting we build a wall around any native territory in the United States that borders Mexico, and then a new treaty has to be signed with all the southwestern Indian tribes that border Mexico. Now, let's hear it, right? Let's hear it. Where's that proposal? It makes the fence a lot longer, a lot more expensive, and the lawsuits are going to be fun.
Leeway. So I think he can, through executive order, simply say no more. But we have to also address what the policy is for those coming across the border. Are we going to process them and say, no, you can't come after we processed you in our country? Yep. No, I think they should be immediately placed back on the other side. And what happens is the people coming from all over Central America and South America, they don't want to stay in Mexico. They want to come to America. So when they're forced to stay there while it's processed, guess what? They quit coming. It slows down.
Or they get trafficked or murdered. Or they get loaded up with drugs and snuck in through Florida. Or a myriad of other things happen.
The flow.
Yeah, I mean, and to all these blue state leaders, that are vowing to fight this, Tom Homan said last night that, that they can't prevent that. They're not allowed to stand in the way of the federal government going after.
Yeah, they're not going to. What he was saying was you can't commandeer our sheriff's departments and our state police and our National Guard without permission because of states' rights, dumb fuck.
Illegals in the country. Does that sound accurate to you? I mean,
By the way, if I may, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I'm Hal Sparks. I'll be Hal Sparksing the rest of the night, just in case you want to know, for at least another half an hour. And of course, like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. I haven't said that shit in so long. I thought I'd remind you that I actually have a show here, that I'm not just standing on your lawn yelling this shit. All right, here we go.
If blue state leaders try to stand in the way, is there something that can be done?
Yeah. Pay your own way. They could pass something through the House and through the Senate that gives funding to Customs and Border Patrol or ICE that allows them to hire a shit ton of more people. And then any of them are injured on the job or, God forbid, wounded, you can pay all their expenses and you can give them health insurance. And then on top of that, what's their contract going to be like? And you can work that shit out. See how this works? You can't just... That's why they don't want you commandeering their people to police people in the state. Because again, if somebody's Hispanic and they're a citizen of this country, or they're here on a visa and they're working, or they're going to school, or any of those things, and they're afraid to call the police because some roundup squad is gathering anybody that's brown or has an accent, and they're afraid they'll get kicked out because they don't know why they're doing it or to what extent, or if they're just brooming migrants in general, not just illegal migrants, but anybody they can get their fucking hands on. And if you don't have your passport on you or your visa with you at any given time, you're fucked, and they can just throw you in a van and drive you to the border. Then they won't call the cops if they're being sexually assaulted, or if someone stole from them, or if they're being attacked. And then they might die. That's why. It's inhumane. If you want to do it, get your own fucking people.
To move them out of the way?
I think what I would do if I were in charge of the immigration situation,
oh Lord,
would be the first to go after those who have committed crimes.
Right. Okay. So what is that, 800 to 1,200 people that are in prison for that? And then what are you going to do? This is the fucking solution they keep coming up with. So we're going to take a guy who's been found guilty of murder. The guy who killed Laken Riley gets life in prison. Okay. Then you're going to take that guy and you're going to deport him. Now, did he commit a crime in that other country, or the country he was from in Venezuela? Do we have extradition with that country? Are they going to take him back as a prisoner? No. You're going to fly him down there, and he's going to walk off the fucking plane and go, all right, and they're going to let him join a fucking gang because he's famous. Leave him in fucking jail.
The big news right before the election was that there were 15,000 people in our country who have committed murder. There are about 30.
No, there aren't. That's for like 70 years.
13,000 that have committed sex crimes, violent sex crimes. That's 20.
Right. And I hear Matt Gaetz is going to pardon all of them, as a matter of fact. He's going to start a hot chick deportation force.
28,000 people. Why don't we start with that 28,000? Why don't we put out an all-points bulletin?
Right. Again, why do we know these people are guilty of crimes? Because we arrested them and they're in fucking jail. This number of people, which isn't 13,000 or 15,000, but all of them, probably maybe 8,000 in total, are in fucking prison. They're either in state prisons or in federal prisons. What are you going to do? You're going to deport them right away? What does that mean? You're going to set them free. You're going to take them to Mexico and drop them the fuck off and go, don't come back. You think they're going to give a fuck? Jesus Christ. All you got to do apparently in Trump's America is murder somebody and you get a free flight home.
We have them removed. I think if we start there, we'll be fine.
Again, what does removed mean? Who's going to take them? They're not going to put them in prison. You can go, here, take this person back. Okay, they get out of the plane, and then you just point a gun at them and go, start walking north.
Fine. I'm not in favor of sending the army in uniforms into our cities to collect people. I think it's a
well, you can't.
Terrible image, and that's not what we use our military for. We never have, and it's actually...
Well, apparently Rob Schitt doesn't agree with you. He thinks that's exactly what we should be doing. We need soldiers walking down the street like it's Israel on lockdown.
It's been illegal for over 100 years to bring the army into our cities. Army and our military are trained to shoot the enemy. They're not trained to get a warrant to do what they're doing. The police have a difficult job, but the people removing people from our country need to be a police enforcement domestic agency, not the military. I'm all for...
See, look, he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. They're like, whoa. So we can't just commandeer the National Guard? Nope.
Remain in Mexico. I will not support an emergency to put the army into our cities. I think that's a huge mistake.
Do you think that's what Trump is intending to do?
Yes, he said it the other day. He said true with like 4 exclamation points, dum-dum.
Well, that's what he said yesterday.
Right. Jesus Christ. How you know what? Look, I understand, Rob, when you have his dick in your mouth and his belly resting on your forehead, maybe you can't see what he's tweeting. But Jesus Christ, man, there was plenty of press about this.
His spokesman said, the stories all said he would declare an emergency to use the military to remove people. I'm not for that. I'm not for really most presidential emergencies because they smack of martial rule. They smack of no congressional approval. They smack of no.
Did you hear that part? Wait. Did you hear that?
Of martial rule. They smack of no congressional approval. They smack.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. That is the biggest part that Republicans in particular have as an issue, because it's circumventing these guys. And you think Trump doesn't want to give up power. Neither do they. Why would they? Right? At the very least, you have to let them craft the bills and craft the laws. Otherwise, if he can just do anything without them, then that's the slow rot of Republicans, senatorial power. They can't even go back to their states and go, I got this for our state, keep it on the down low, but I filled up the pork that you need, and I got us coverage for, when we moved to a military base here, all that shit. They don't have to do that anymore because they have no leverage with the president. They can't put it in there and make him sign it. He doesn't need him anymore.
Of no checks and balances. So look, I'm supportive of President Trump. I'm supportive of removing people illegally here, particularly people who have committed crimes. But I'm not for the army marching up and down our streets. I think it's a terrible image.
He is. Rob shit is. And that's because he fucking hates America. Honestly, like everybody at Newsmax, they fucking hate this country. They have this idea that they like of it, this kind of vision of like somewhere between like Colonial Williamsburg and a NASCAR race that they, with like wet t-shirt contests and fucking Jimmy Buffett music playing, that there's this like window and where all the women are trad wives and leave them alone while they're at this event every weekend, and they can tell their wives to shut up or whatever. And you can hit your kids again without anybody getting mad at you. That's their vision of what this is, but it's nowhere near, nor has it ever been near what this actual country is about.
To send the world. It's a terrible image for us as citizens. And so I hope he will think twice about trying to use an emergency edict to have the army patrolling our country.
I understand that. I also just, I look logistically. It's like, we just let 20 million people or 50 million people into the.
No, we didn't, motherfucker. No. Not a real number, dummy. Completely fabricated. Bullshit.
The country, which is just pure insanity. So I can understand.
Yes, it is. It's insane that you actually think that's a number. Encounters are not people. If you meet someone 5 times, you have not discovered they have 4 twin brothers. Okay? Can you understand the difference between encountering someone and meeting a new person? Can you grasp that at all? You odd little tit.
Understand why there's this, why some people.
Where are they? Fuck you. Where are they? 20 fucking million people? Where are they? You think if there were 20 million people doing all this shit, you'd have to use the same footage of those dudes outside that door in fucking Aurora, Colorado to show that there's gangs all over the fucking place? Wouldn't you just have fucking footage like crazy? Jesus Christ. Go look at Johannesburg, South Africa, right? Look at the squalor outside that city. Or outside of Cape Town, for that matter. You'd think that I swear to God, these assholes see that footage and think it's Baltimore. For real.
Maybe feel that there's a need for a drastic measure like that.
No. You can't stop being America so you can start being America again. Doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to drastic measures. I'm not opposed to going all in for this, but I would do it in stages. The American people will be behind him 100% if he goes immediately after the people that are.
Fuck you. Nope. This asshole wants soldiers walking down the street with guns, rounding up brown people in vans while maggots applaud on the street corners. They'll be fucking these fat fucks with their maggot hats on, just standing there saluting, tears. Strong guys, big guys, tears rolling down their cheeks as random Hispanic-looking people are rounded up in green Greyhound buses and driven to the fucking border and shoved out. That's what he wants to see. That's what maggots want to see, and it ain't gonna happen because of guys like that. Fuck that nonsense.
Have committed crimes. The people who've been released from prisons in Venezuela. The bad people.
Oh, you mean the people that Donald Trump gave a 1.5 year pass on his last day in office when he was leaving?
That have been admitted to this country. Let's go there and start there. There is, to my mind, some question of the people, the housekeeper who's been here 30 years, and I don't see the military putting her in handcuffs and marching her down.
Oh, yeah, you do. Sorry. You can't start making those choices. That's if she's here 30 years, she's probably got somebody else in her house and she's been hiding them this whole time. She's part of the problem, Rand. You can't look. You're literally named after Ayn Rand. You can't start getting wimpy now.
On the street to an encampment. I don't really want to see that. I would like to see something.
Yeah, I don't want to see that. Do it at night. Jesus Christ.
And I don't think that person should get to vote either. So I think that
they can't vote, fuckwad.
That person, there might be an in-between solution where if they're already working productively, that we allow them to have a work permit.
All right, yeah. All right, somebody knows that fucking, yeah, somebody's been to Doral, somebody's been to Mar-a-Lago, somebody's been to Bedminster. That's who you're talking about. Every fucking hotel in Kentucky. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about, like, he's like, who the fuck's going to clean all the hotel rooms? That's what he means. Tough shit, motherfucker. You don't get to use illegal immigrants and have them live in fear because you need them to do these jobs for you if you're going to shove everybody else out because you just don't like the look of them. Fuck you. Shit or get off the pot. And you don't get to softball this awful and say, well, we're leaving the old ladies alone. Why? So they can be exploited under the table, never get rights, never get Social Security, just die of some illness with no health care and all that stuff. You can keep them here to do that. And they can leave if they want to, I guess.
So I would expand, actually, a lot of the idea of work permits for people, but they don't get rewarded with voting.
Oh, my God. That's exactly what happened to the Haitians in Springfield. They're there on work permits. Springfield needed them. That's exactly how they're there. You think this asshole gives a fuck? You nuts? Again, that's why I keep saying, like, all these guys crossing the border, these military-age men. Yeah, you mean roofing-age men, plumbing-age men, drywall experts, masonry experts, age men.
Yeah. And I really think us as conservatives who are supportive of Trump need to caution him about sending the army into our cities.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll take that caution, like under advisement. Ugh. I had another clip up here, but I just it's just awful. It's just blech. It was a Glenn Beck thing, but I don't want to do it. I'd rather do this right now because I don't know what the fuck this is. Hold on. What
September 11th attacks.
Where's this? Who the fuck? Is he actually there? Nope, I guess not. All right. It was a press conference for Rudy Giuliani, but he didn't show up. Never mind. That's hilarious. Also, okay, this is well, let's look at this because this is actually one of the other talking points is that World War III is here. Also, is now that Trump has won again, are all these sideline macho fucks who dance to YMCA all just straight up going Lindsay? Yeah. This is World War III is here. I've been wondering when. It's here, kids. This is it. I guess fuck it then.
Coming to you from the entertainment capital of the world. If you
my recent shows, or you get links that you can use in the root reaction.
By the way,
sir,
can I
call in root?
Also, can I say that knowing this dude is in Vegas makes so much fucking sense because he absolutely looks like an old Vegas fuck.
Hey, welcome to the show. The root's on fire. Wayne Allen Roots, the root reaction.
Wayne, we don't give a fuck. Let the motherfucker burn. So.
Here on RAV, coming to you from Vegas, the entertainment capital of the world. I'm the hardest working man in showbiz.
Does the other side of the room have any bookcases at all? I'm just saying. Maybe spread out the love a little bit.
Certainly. Conservative showbiz with the fastest show in the history of TV. This show is conservative, patriotic talk on steroids, squared to the 1,000th power. My command.
Wait, on steroids, squared to the 1,000th power. So it's so all of its gains are completely fake. I see what you mean. It's basically a synthol political thought.
And central.
And if you don't know what synthol is, don't look it up.
Rootforamerica.com. At the top are 3 tabs. Watch Wayne on TV. Listen to Wayne on the radio. Listen to Wayne's podcast.
Get on with it.
I'm going to start.
Also, by the way, if World War III is here, why do I give a shit about any of this? Unless you're doing this from your bunker, I call bullshit.
Start with the same news I started with yesterday. And I'm going to start with the same news I've had in the top, I call it the Final Four, the top 4 stories in America on my America's Top 10 Countdown.
Great. Very excited. Get on with it.
On Saturdays here on RAV, I've not only had it in the Final Four, I've had it as the #1 story in America multiple times.
Could it possibly be acid reflux? Is that... I might be wrong, but I feel like that should be the #1 story.
Do Democrats hate Trump so much they'd rather get us in a nuclear war?
Excuse me, rather? Rather? I don't know. What would I rather? You know, Democrats, can you please tell me, what would you rather? Would you rather a President Trump or rather a World War III? I don't know. I mean, honestly, Meta, yes, bring my drinks to the drawing room. I'll be playing the grand piano while I rather.
And see American cities be destroyed and millions of Americans die. Then
or stand up for freedom. That's right. Cower, America. Cower like Root.
Let Trump take office. Is that what they're bucking for? Because World War III is here.
Well, then I guess we've done it. Fantastic. Well done, Democrats. World War III is here. So I will see you guys, I think, after the apocalypse, we'll be all gathering at Bartertown. You know where the site is. It's out near Burning Man. And I will be setting up the pig shit generators along with a couple friends of mine. And Summer knows a Tina Turner lookalike who did Legends in Concert. So, yeah.
And it sure seems like Democrats...
Ain't we a pair? Raggedy man.
Democrats want us dead.
No. Why would I want you dead when I would rather you walk around in that jacket? Seriously. You look like the spokesperson for Pepto-Bismol's Don't column.
Anything would be better to them. They have Trump derangement syndrome. Anything would be better than letting Trump take office.
No. You're like, again, you're like, anything would be better than, I guess, like letting Putin take over would be better than losing the Constitution. Like, that's how diluted this fucker is.
So they're pushing Putin for nuclear war.
Are we? Really? I feel like we're calling his fucking bluff.
Ukraine, just yesterday, I reported over the weekend, got permission from Joe Biden to use long-range U.S. missiles. And
Right. I think I have, hold on. I think I have audio of that, very possibly. Let's see. Is it in here? No. Yeah, this should, I suppose I should be. No, it's, there you go. Sunset, no? This one? That's music. No, that's music. I need a. Certainly, there's got to be an applause sound effect somewhere. You know what, Wayne? You're just going to have to settle for the same sound you experience when you wake up in the morning.
Shoot them deep into Russia to kill Russians, Russian civilians, Russian soldiers.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, just Biden just gave him permission. Just start killing Russian civilians. Just do it. Mm-hmm.
They're going to die at the hands of American missiles, dragging us and NATO into war.
Wait a minute. I knew we had advanced missiles, but they have hands? That's incredible. I suppose it's just so they can high-five all the drones as they're going into Russia. Like, what's up?
World War III. And Putin is intent on using nuclear weapons. He's got the greatest nuclear arsenal in the world.
Well, if he's intent on doing it, why isn't he doing it yet?
It blows ours away. My friends in military.
What the fuck? Says who?
Intelligence have told me for 4 years now. The United States has, 30, 40,000 nuclear missiles, and Russia has like 30, 40,000.
Right. And you could blow up the entire world with like 35.
Theirs are all modern. They put all their money into.
Yeah, totally. Who's your buddy? Scott Ritter?
Modernizing their nuclear arsenal, and it does things that we can't even.
Wait a minute. I thought Trump got all brand new and rebuilt them and modernized them last time. Are you calling Trump a liar? Don't try to start making me like you now. You pusillanimous used car salesman.
Imagine that our nukes do not do, and we have no way to protect against it.
What, fly a long way and blow up? What do they do? Play Deutschland über alles as they're flying over here? Fuck off.
He's got the greatest nuclear arsenal in the world, and
Look, you don't even need the greatest nuclear arsenal in the world to destroy the world 10 times over, stupid.
He's ready to use it. Are we?
No, he isn't.
Insane? President Trump, you got to get out there now. You have 2+ months before you're president of the United States. And I think their plan is to let America get nuked and be under martial law and never let you take over. Okay, we'll be a ruin. Our nation will be a smoldering ruin.
Well, it doesn't matter anyways. Nothing he can do about it, right? He's not president yet. He's the president-elect. He's got to be sworn in January. He can't take power before then. So if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. You're fucked. It's done.
Like out of the movie Mad Max.
Yeah, it's exactly like that. Jesus Christ. I was joking earlier. And it's because assholes like this have like 4 cultural references and you can just count on them.
And you will never be president. Or option number 2, worst case scenario, if they can't stop you and you become president, you'll take over a smoldering ruin of a nation.
Right. What? Isn't that the same thing? Sorry. They hold on. They want the country like a smoldering ruin. Do you think anybody will give a shit who's in charge of a smoldering ruin? Right. Ruin?
That is in the middle of a nuclear war and we're all killing each other.
Yeah, there's no middle to a nuclear war. Nuclear wars are pretty fast. They're like the fastest wars that exist.
They just are willing to do anything.
No, if they were willing to do anything, he never would have made it to the election. He wouldn't have lived a week past it. You're a paranoid asshole.
To hide the crimes they've committed. And you know who I think's in charge of all this?
Hold on. So so your premise is they will let the entire United States get nuked rather than face the possibility of a court trial for what? For a collusion with Burisma or something?
I've made it clear on my shows for the last several.
Wait, Biden can just pardon everybody? Like he doesn't have to be the biggest mass murderer in history. He can just pardon everyone. And by the way, he doesn't have any rules right now, thanks to Trump's own Supreme Court.
Years, Obama. All roads lead to Obama.
Well, and I guess, look, I'm not here to yuck anybody's yum, and you're welcome to whatever fetish you have. But on a political sense, that's not true at all.
Obama is running the nation.
No, he's not.
Joe Biden can't run a lemonade stand.
Well, then Obama apparently gave Zelensky permission.
An old man with dementia who should be dribbling in a wheelchair in a nursing home.
Wait, you can play basketball in a wheelchair in a nursing home? How high are the ceilings in that place?
Not running the United States with his finger on the nuclear button. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, it doesn't matter if he knows what he's doing. If Russia's making good on their threat, all he's got to do is push the button, I would guess. It's not a simple process. It's not a complicated process. It seems pretty simple.
Time he's in trouble, he looks for Jill and says, Mommy, change my diapers. I went poo-poo. That's your president.
No, that's your president.
I've been saying this for 4 years.
Right, and so far, none of this has paid off. We still have our rights. Everybody's still got their guns. I think the last law about gun rights was the bump stock ruling that Trump did.
That's your president. They change his diapers and they feed him baby food and they put him to sleep at night with a mask on. And around 6 o'clock, they put a lid on it. And then the next day he gets up and goes to the beach in Delaware. While Obama runs the country.
Because Obama wants the country nuked? We should be so lucky. And by the way, if Donald Trump decides he's going to come in and remove the rules about term limits for the president, good luck, when Obama runs again.
Obama is your president of the United States. Obama is the one that would rather have weapons of mass destruction.
Obama would rather.
Distraction, nuclear war, than let Trump indict and arrest him and put him on trial for treason.
Treason about what, asshole?
Obama's behind all the treason. Now Obama's behind this decision to let missiles made by the United States and All
right. Whoa. Okay. Do you smell almonds? Is Obama in the room with us right now? Because I got to say that this started out with kind of like run-of-the-mill, shitty, right-wing, maggot dunking nonsense. And now it is, at a certain point, I'm afraid he's going to get a call from Roseanne to tone it down.
Run by American troops on the ground in Ukraine, shoot at Russia and kill Russians. This is a provocation for...
No, that's not what's happening at all.
World War III, and they want it.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's already here. You buried the lead, motherfucker. If it's already World War III and Trump doesn't take office for another month and a half or 2 months, fuck you gonna do about it? Right? Tough shit. I guess prepare to die? What are you talking about?
A few headlines. Ukraine launches first missile strike on Russia with long-range American missiles, sending stock markets reeling amid World War III fears. Putin updates Russia's nuclear doctrine.
Thank God we can always count on headlines to address the content of the article in a patient and informed way and are not at all clickbait.
Mandates following U.S. long-range missile strikes from Ukraine inside their borders on Tuesday. It's a massive provocation. It's a massive...
Sorry, why is it... Oh, hold on. Why isn't Russia firing missiles from well within their country into Ukraine a massive provocation? Why is retaliation for attacks on civilian structures by Russia fired from within Russia a provocation? Because this sounds completely defensive. I think most people would argue that they should have done it a long time ago.
Escalation on both sides.
On both sides, yeah. So obviously, Putin is, wants us to nuke him. Apparently, Putin's trying to start World War III At the same time, we're starting to. It's a team effort, really. That's what I would say. Is the thing about. If you really think about it, World War III won't be televised, but it will be a team effort. We're all going to pull together.
And Ukraine is not important to anyone I know in the United States of America. We don't give a flying F about Ukraine.
Well, then why do you care if we defend them then?
Ukraine's strike on Russia comes after Putin lowers his threshold for nukes. He says that if you strike inside Russian territory with U.S. nukes, he's gonna nuke us.
Well, okay, that's okay deal. So he's ruling out a first strike? Sorry, so if we nuke him, he's gonna nuke us. All right, cool, that's not a problem. We're good then. What? Listen to this asshole. Listen to this. Yeah, the Timu Alex Jones.
Putin lowers his threshold for nukes. He says that if you strike inside Russian territory with U.S. nukes, he's gonna nuke us.
Well, I mean, honestly, fair's fair. I can't fault him in that situation. Yes, pretty sure if we nuke him, he'll probably nuke back. I think that's what that whole mutual assured destruction thing is. Tell you what, then that's fine. I think that's a fair standard. And if he nukes Ukraine or any of our allies, we'll nuke him. Fine. Okay, cool. Now, can we go back to conventional warfare where he's getting his ass handed to him?
Now, do I believe he's really going to send nukes at the United States right now? No. But
well, give him a week.
I think he's going to nuke Western Europe. I think Western Europe will get nuked. There's going to be a limited nuclear attack on some city in Ukraine, maybe even in Poland. Who knows?
No, he's not going to nuke Poland, you fucking weirdo.
And that's going to be the start of World War III.
Well, then he started World War III. Look, what are you defending here? You're defending a country that's fighting back against a dude who would randomly nuke Poland because he's getting his ass kicked in a war of choice.
And Lavrov warns
Ooh, did he now?
That the West is escalating conflict just after Putin signs nuclear doctrine expanse into effect. So, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov has described the nuclear.
Yeah, I would. I mean, I'd either invest in a teleprompter, and take reading comprehension classes, or get an earpiece like you're an aging, brain-addled Marlon Brando. Just have somebody just say what you want. Tell me that shit again. When I'll push a button, and then you can tell me what it says.
Doctrine changes, and they mean that the Russian Federation reserves the right to use nuclear weapons in the event of aggression using conventional weapons against it and or the Republic of Belarus. So if we shoot, and we could mean Ukraine, or it could mean the United States, or it could mean Ukraine with U.S. weapons, into Belarus or Russia, he reserves the right to respond with nuclear weapons.
Tough shit. Bluff called. Fuck off.
And I mentioned this on yesterday's show.
Also, who gives a shit if he reserves the right to do it? I'm dead serious. Would that make a difference in whether he uses them or not? If he threatens to do it and then he does it, or he doesn't threaten to do it and he does it, or if he threatens to do it and then he doesn't do it, or that he doesn't do it and he never mentions it, who gives a fuck? What is that? What bearing does that have on people defending themselves?
Sweden goes full nuclear prepper as 5 million residents get pamphlets on how to stock food and prepare for nuclear war. And I understand that Finland is doing the exact same thing. They're up there near Russia, and they...
Yeah, because they're downwind from the crater that will be St. Petersburg and Moscow.
Expect nuclear war, and they expect fallout from nukes that could blow into their country.
They do that all the time.
Pollute their air and cause a lot of radiation sickness for their people.
Right, and that's not coming from the United States, is it? They're not preparing for those nuclear weapons They're expecting those to land in Russia.
Folks, why do they want to do this? Well, first of all, I've always argued that Barack Obama is a
Jesus Christ, whatever
traitor to the United States.
Right. No one knows what the fuck you're talking about, you weirdo. This is like, you know what this is like watching this clip? This is like us practicing for dealing with our dumbest relative at Thanksgiving. Like the absolute dumbest maggot you have in your family possible. That watching a Wayne Allen Root clip is a great way to prepare yourself for just the rando garbage that's going to fall out of their fucking face.
Barack Obama is a Manchurian candidate. How do I know that? I went to Columbia University with him and he was never there. I've said this again and again and again. And too many idiots on the left call me a birther.
No, I think bigot suffices.
Because I say this, why I've said nothing about Obama's birth in my entire life. I don't know if he was born in the United States or Kenya. I have no idea. But I know he was raised in Indonesia. I know he's raised as a Muslim in Indonesia. I know he went to Muslim.
Oh, for fuck's sake. And that's why I put a Catholic in charge of the country. Just to make the evangelicals feel more comfortable. What?
Public schools, and I know to go to Muslim public schools. I verified the fact with conservative investigators on the ground in Ukraine. I mean, in Indonesia.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
That
Ukraine, Indonesia, Kenya. Kenya? Sorry, what's the difference?
To go to any public school when Obama did in his grade school days, which would have been the 1970s or late 1960s. He's the exact age as me, by the way. Obama's exactly 63 years old. We graduated the same day from college. We graduated the same day from high school. Graduated the same day from grammar school. We were born less than a month apart. My birthday's July 20th. His is, I think, August 3rd.
Yeah, and he's far more accomplished than you. He became president of the United States. That's got a sting. You know what it is? Obviously, it's not your lack of intellect. It's clearly your fashion sense has been holding you back. You look like the guy who stays too long at a party he was too old for when it started, and I guarantee you're a spit talker.
Our lives are so parallel, it's strange, but
they're not parallel at all. Except maybe you passed each other going the other direction. Jesus.
All I could tell you is we're so opposite each other.
That I believe. Yes, he's smart, accomplished, intelligent, well-spoken. Wouldn't be caught dead in a Pepto-Bismol blazer.
He was born to destroy this country, and I was born, I believe, to be a patriot and love this country.
You believe? You're not sure though? Yeah, you seem on the fence.
And so this guy is bad news.
And also, wait a minute. He was president for 8 years. He was born to destroy the country, whatever the fuck that means. And he didn't do it in 8 years? If that was his gig, couldn't he have just set it up so there's nothing Trump could do and he had to lose to Hillary, right? If that was the goal. For real.
And Obama has committed so many crimes.
Like what?
All of Joe Biden's bribery crimes and extortion crimes. Who was overseeing them? The Tutti di Capi, Obama.
What? Hold on. So, look, I understand people not understanding that if Hunter Biden is the bag man, it's not his money. So if he's complaining, Dad takes half my money, then clearly it means he's not a bag man, and or that he doesn't think he's a bag man, anyways. But now you think that. So who the fuck? So Hunter kind of works for Obama at this point? Jesus Christ, man. You know what? I don't understand why your numbers for viewership aren't higher.
The Don, Obama.
By the way, this video has 18 thumbs up. Dude's got 119,000 followers on here. Allegedly 2,000 watches on this. 18 thumbs up. You know what I think we got to do? I think you got to do that. Oh, I got to sign in for this thing? Fuck that. People signed in just to give this dude a thumbs up.
Don Obama. He was in charge of the organized crime group called the Obama Crime Family. And they...
It's an original name. I'm impressed. I think it's a mistake to call it that because it seems like it would be easy to look up in the yellow pages.
We're over the Biden crime family. And I believe the bribes taken, again, it's an opinion show, my opinion, by John Kerry for the John Kerry.
Jesus Christ. Dude, can you not deal it? First of all, are you going to be talking about this shit the entire time we're in the bunker? Because if this is a zombie movie, we would all be drawing straws and fixing the count just so we could shove you out. Good Lord, man. Honestly, I feel like he's just filling time at this point. I'm over it. I don't know. We're just going to end up where he's talking about fucking, I don't know, the Kennedy assassination was all set up by Obama's dad or something. And by the way, this is an asshole who thinks he's on the winning side, that he thinks everything's going to go fucking smooth sailing as soon as Trump gets in office. Yeah, I gotta say, I'm shocked that I can still be shocked. It's nice to know that I still have all my emotions left. I almost feel like some of them have burned out. You know what I mean? Where I've it was the Carter crime family that was behind it. Billy Carter's behind the whole thing. He raised Obama in a kibbutz, captured by some friendly Arabs. Right? What the fuck? Oh my God. Anyways, I love you guys. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care of yourselves and take care of somebody else. And don't forget to hit the like, subscribe, share the show. And maggots, thank you for being here. I'm amazed at how quickly you guys started A, turning on each other, and B, getting demoralized by your paranoia about too many wins. Seemingly that's where you guys are, like, this looks good. I can't dare to dream. That seems to be where you guys are right now. And I got to tell you, if you're miserable, I don't care how it happened. And thank you, Pentaxestein. Wayne, choose the route. Thank you, Barbara. Janissary, thank you as well. Thank you, Jennifer. How's lives with guns joke freeze? What's your pronouns? Right. Thank you, Jennifer, for remembering that. Luis, thank you so much. Ed Beatty Jr., thank you as well.